Good morning and welcome to my latest country. I have arrived here in El Salvador. Specifically, I'm here in the city of Santa Ana in the western region of the country. And I arrived here a couple days ago and I'm very excited to be here in El Salvador to check out the country and the history and the culture, as you can see behind me there. And you can also see behind me there. We're just here in the central square area in Santa Ana. It is a Sunday morning and it is packed with people and vendors and lots of rain clouds. So hopefully that the rains will hold off today. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone for the birthday wishes on my 51st birthday video that I posted. The response to it was overwhelming. I've really enjoyed all of the likes and comments and have had some really nice discussions with people about, their own path and what they see as, happiness for them. As I said in the video, this wasn't about me saying that this is the right thing for everybody. But for me, it was working, and I just want other people to, be happy and find their own path to happiness or whatever comes. So a bit of history here about Santa Ana. It was originally a pre-Columbian indigenous settlement in, sort of the before times, if you will. And up until 250 AD, there was a number of large settlements in the area. In 250 AD, Lake Ilopango erupted as it was a volcano. And at that point, it vacated most of the people from the area as a result. So for several hundred years, it remained pretty empty. So once the Mayan Empire arrived in 1200 AD, the town was then named Tehuacan, which meant the place of priestesses. And it remained that name until the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 1520s. And in 1569, Santa Ana was then given its name by the Spanish. So the city as it exists today is now 450 years old. It is the second largest city here in El Salvador and is a pretty big central point for the coffee trade as well as manufacturing and other industries here near the city. There's about 250,000 people that live in the city here and surrounding areas, which is, about half the size of San Salvador, the capital. As you may know, El Salvador went through a pretty brutal civil war in the mid to late 1980s and early 1990s. Santa Ana was affected by that, of course, like every city in the country. And during that time, there was actually a depopulation here in the city where many people moved out of the city core into the outlying areas, mostly to avoid some of the Civil War conflict. Since then, it has recovered and is now, as I said, a pretty big industry area for manufacturing, textiles, and coffee, of course. One of the largest coffee manufacturing plants is just near the city here, just on the outside. I would be amiss if I didn't mention that Santa Ana also has one of the most popular football teams here in El Salvador. CDFAS is the team name, and they play at a stadium here in the city that holds about 20,000 people or so. So pretty big event here when they play, and very, very popular. So in today's video, I thought I would take a walk around Santa Ana. We'll explore some of the different highlights of the city, including the cathedral, the National Theater, the ruins of the former art school, and a few other little stops along the way, including, the market and some of the food stands. So just here off the main square, we're here at Santa Ana Cathedral. The cathedral itself was originally a parish that was built in 1575 by the Spanish Franciscans and was later destroyed in the 19th century by lightning and fire. In the early 1900s, there was a decision made to rebuild the cathedral, and so that process began in the early 1900s and is now recognized as a National Heritage Site here in El Salvador. We're going to take a walk inside, have a quick look, and also, if you look at the very top, up here, you can actually climb up there to the bell tower to get a look at the city. So we're going to go see if we can do that. And yeah, this will be our first stop here in Santa Ana, El Salvador. So we're just in the entranceway here to climb up to the top of the cathedral. To get in, you basically come into the church, and on the left-hand side, there's a small, like a souvenir stand kind of shop set up, and you pay the girl there $2 US per person, and you can head up. And here are the winding stairs to get to the top. Let's get going. So it wasn't actually that bad of a walk. It's only maybe 100 stairs or so. Warm up here because the sun's coming out. But yeah, I can see why you would want to come up here for the view of the town of Santa Ana here at the top of the cathedral. You can see the mountains all the way around and the city below. And we're actually going to head up over this side by the cross and the tower and the bells. I believe on my way up, he mentioned that it's about 15 minutes you get to have, so you don't get to hang out here all day, of course. But 15 minutes should be more than enough time. So this is just the front side of the cathedral here. There's the main square. The National Theater is here, and just to my right here is the bell tower, which we'll get a better look at there in a minute. And we're just waiting for this photo shoot to finish, and then we can go up on the other side. So this is the highest point up here on the cathedral that you can get to. I'm at the very peak of the roof here, as you can see, with just an absolutely stunning view of the city all the way around. Again, for reference, there's the Central Park. Here's the other bell tower here, and more of the city. Anyway, let's go take a look at the bell tower here behind me, and we'll wrap up our little tour here on the roof of Santa Ana Cathedral. All right, so I think we can go down here and go up these little set of stairs up to the church bell. I don't know if I'm going to bother because I can pretty much see it right from here, and getting that much closer to it's not going to make a whole lick of difference, in my opinion. So yeah, this is the rooftop tour of the Santa Ana Cathedral here. It is absolutely worth spending $2 to come up and have a look at this beautiful city from up on the high point, and can't recommend it enough. All right, so let's head out from here and we'll head over to our next stop. Now that the service is over in here, here's a look at the cathedral inside. Again, this was fully rebuilt in the early 1900s. But a pretty beautiful building nonetheless. You can see that it goes quite a far distance down to the altar. So just a final shot for reference. So there's the two bell towers at the top with the cross. That's where we were when we got up to the top. So we come up over here, crossed up to the peak behind the cross, and then down to the backside of the cathedral as well. So our next stop is 100 feet away. This is the National Theatre of Santa Ana. It was built in the early 1900s with some of the money from the riches of the coffee trade that was here at the time. It's still very much a powerful city in the coffee trade for El Salvador, but in the early 1900s, this place was the richest city in the country and one of in the entire region because of the coffee that was here. So let's take a walk over. I think the front doors are open, so I should be able to get inside to take a quick look, I'm hoping. We'll find out. You see the ornate design on the front of this building. It's just incredible. All the little, details and stuff. There's a violin up there. There's a harp over in the top left corner. There's actually a picture of the volcano erupting in the middle at the very top. And then, of course, all the other little intricate designs and stuff. So let's take a walk over and see if we can have a look. So this is the main entryway to the National Theatre here in Santa Ana. So there's a couple different options when you get here. They have shows which run every day, and they have a schedule which is available at the front door. So most of those shows are like an hour, looks like an hour and a half, and the shows run between $3 and $5 depending on the event. And if you want to just come and check it out when there's not a show going on, there are various prices for that, up to $5 for foreign visitors, which is fine because I'm here at a time when I pretty much have it to myself, other than workers. Just an absolutely beautiful building. All the wood paneling on the top. There's 2 floors to this building, and I believe the theater itself seats 800 people for a single show. So it looks like they're doing some rehearsals or something in here at the moment. Just gonna wait a minute. Oh, there we go. There's some lights on the stage there going on now. I'm going to take a walk up to the second floor here as well to get a better view, but just an absolutely gorgeous building with a main seating area down here on the floor, and then they have these rounded second and third steps with additional seating up above. It's impressive that most of this building looks like it's made of wood. You can see here on the wood paneling. I'm sure that the main frame of the building is concrete like so many other buildings around, but the woodwork here is beautiful, to say the word, to put it mildly. Here's the second floor concourse area. Again, just an unbelievable work, both on the ceiling and the walls. And of course, you have this very ornate wooden floor too. And if we go this way, you get a really nice view again of the park. This is the municipal building here, the yellow one. And just over here, around this corner, is the cathedral. But again, everywhere you look in here, more amazing artwork and design and detail just completely surrounds this entire building. Let's go over here and have a look at the main theater area from the second floor. Just another shot of the inside of the theater here from up on the second balcony. And again, just a marvelous building. Wish there was a bit more light to show you a bit more detail, but they are getting ready for a show here this afternoon. But you can see just how deep that stage goes, which would allow for, multi-layered performances. And there again, you can see the main seating area down below. Absolutely beautiful building here. If you get a chance to come and check out the National Theatre building, it's well worth the $5 admission fee. Or if you want to come and see a show, it's like, like I said, $3 to $5. And yeah, spectacular place. They just slipped the lights on here inside, and yeah, it's even more impressive than before. They've even got some old sample show posters here. There's one here for the Count of Monte Cristo. And then they have some other pieces that have been collected from the museum over the years. This is when they used to have projector films playing here. This was brought in by the Kleagle brothers from New York. Piece of music that was used here for one of the concerts in the theater. La Joaquinita, a que bonita señorita. This is General Tomas Regalado, who was their President of the Republic from 1899 to 1903, and he was heavily involved in the initial construction of the theater here in Santa Ana. So just a couple other buildings I'd like to point out. I'm not going to check them out specifically because I have a couple more places I want to go to, but obviously, as I mentioned earlier, this is the municipal building here for Santa Ana. It's closed, it's a Sunday, but it's got a nice clock tower at the top. There's the National Theatre building where we just were. There's the cathedral. This is the cultural center for Santa Ana. That's where we heard some music playing earlier. And there's a grocery store and the ever popular Little Caesars. I think if I was ever to do a video about the popular foods in all of El Salvador and Guatemala too, Little Caesars would probably be at the top of the list. Everywhere you go, you'll see lineups, much like this one, 15 or 20 deep, waiting for Little Caesars pizza. Our next destination, however, is just up the road a couple blocks, so let's head up there now. This is the Western Regional Museum of El Salvador, formerly the Central Bank building here in Santa Ana. And I believe there's two different museums inside. There's the Regional Museum, and then there's also a Museum of the Currency, which is downstairs in the bank vault. So let's head over and have a look.